We associate the SISTRUM with Hathor, but do you know why or where it came from? And have you ever heard of BAT? Well, join me on an adventure back in time to learn about Sesheshet, Hut Sechem, and the netter BAT. Learning about the SISTRUM has really been an adventure, and it all began in the 7th district or nome of Upper Egypt, just a little west of Dendera Temple, and discovering more about the netter BAT. She appears from pre-dynastic to Middle Kingdom times. Then we're told her importance started to wane, and by the New Kingdom her roles were absorbed into those of Hathor. But how can a cosmic law cease to exist? Well, of course it cannot. So we need to look a little deeper into the relationship between these two. Her name in hieroglyphs is written with a stork or bar bird, and sometimes the half dome that contains, followed by a sistrum. So it translates as that which holds the spirit or soul, drawing a parallel to the name of Hathor as she who holds cosmic consciousness. In the pyramid text, she says, I am praise, I am majesty, I am Bat with her two faces. I am the one who is saved, and I have saved myself from all things evil. That's the standard translation, and I really wish I could see the hieroglyphs to give my own version of it. But her two faces mentioned in the text are shown back to back on top of the Nama palette, as they do on the sistrum. Each face is shown frontally with cow's ears and thick horns that curl inward and grow out sideways, quite different from those of Hathor that sprout from the top of her head, hold a solar disk between them, and always curve outwards. Here both Bat and Hathor are shown in female form on either side of Menkaure, and the symbol on top of her head contains an early form of sistrum with her face above the knot of Isis and the feather of Mat held between her horns. It's the symbol for the 7th district of Upper Egypt called Seshesh, sacred to the netter Bat and known as the land of the sistrum. You see, the word sistrum comes from the Greek name, meaning that which is shaken, but the Egyptians called it either Sechem or Sesheshet. The T at the end of Sesheshet means it contains the energy of the land it came from, and it also repeats the sound it makes when it's shaken. It's written with two papyrus stems whose heads are forced together like two active poles of a magnet, symbolizing opposition or conflict, and here referring to the agitation when it's actively shaken. This is followed by two rectangles symbolizing plasma, shown twice because it's been doubled or increased by the shaking, and the female determinative meaning that which contains. Thus the sound it makes energizes and intensifies the atmosphere. Sechem means absolute power, and I'm sure you've heard of Sekhmet, the T at the end of her name meaning she who holds all power. Usually depicted as a scepter, here the word is spelled out with the same two papyrus stems, a sieve which scrambles things to separate finer from denser matter, and a clip which holds things in, making the sistrum a powerful device used to refine and purify through vibrantly shaking it. The capital of Seshesh was Hut-Sechem, the Hut using the same hieroglyph as the Hat in Hathor. But the hieroglyphs are multidimensional, and the Egyptians like to play with their sounds and meanings, so it could also be written with the name of the netter Hu, the divine command, which is likely because Hu is the name of the modern town built over it, and I firmly believe that its remains are still buried there. This would give us a reading that the full power of the divine command is held within the SISTRUM. Now let's look at its form. Above the handle we typically find a frontal face that often feels like it's been stretched to draw attention to her ears, which are not human but those of a cow. Why? Well, cows' ears are highly receptive to sound, and having a far wider auditory range than we humans, they're particularly sensitive to high frequencies. That's an important point because I just mentioned how the structure of her face draws our attention to them, and unlike the eyes, nose and mouth, which can both give and receive energy, the ear is only designed to receive. Sometimes the face is framed by a thick band of hair, shaped like a horseshoe magnet, with its flow interrupted by an odd number of ties, making it look like a conductor of electromagnetic energy, and sometimes it ends in a spiral. Horns have long been used as musical instruments, since their conical shape is ideal for amplifying sound, and right above those cow ears, the symbolic face of Bat has horns that grow out sideways, so any vibrations received at the tip would be greatly amplified when they reach her head. On the first type of SISTRUM, the stylized horns have been joined together to make a looped frame, and inside metal discs can jangle about on serpent-shaped rods to make a sharp percussive sound. Its shape closely resembles an ankh, the highly sensitive cow's ears replacing its longer arms. The ankh symbolizes the breath of life, whose magical properties keep us all alive, and as a divine gift, only a netter can offer it to a human. So when we see someone holding a SISTRUM, it means they have activated its properties within themselves. The second type has a shrine or naos on top of her head, with the stylized horns reduced to a long spiral on either side, and a uraeus cobra often stands in the doorway. This type is repeated architecturally in the capitals of columns. And remember that everything in sacred art is multidimensional and must be read symbolically. So it's no coincidence that the shrine hieroglyph is pronounced sh and the spiral u, creating the name Shu, who is strongly connected to plasma and serves as a link between heaven and earth. So is that face Bat or Hathor? In the old world, sound was foremost among the senses. So for me, the SISTRUM is a physical manifestation of the netter Bat. And that face is hers. So taking it a step further, what would it mean to become a SISTRUM? That's what the dervish is all about. Aligning oneself to the frequencies of the cosmos, firstly through an ecstatic ritual, then using the state that created as a reference point to be able to recreate it at any time. The translation of the Greek SISTRUM is that which is being shaken. So when you become a SISTRUM, that means you. The instrument is shaken to create sound, whereas your body is set in motion by receiving sound. Sound that aligns it with the frequencies of the cosmos, and that sound is received through the ears and horns of Bat. The Greek historian Plutarch said, "The SISTRUM makes it clear that all things in existence need to be shaken or rattled about, and never to cease from motion, but, as it were, to be woken up and agitated when they grow drowsy and torpid." Well, now you know a little more about the SISTRUM and the Nether Bat, but we still need to look at those so-called Hathor columns and some of the other detached frontal faces in Dendera and elsewhere. So to keep learning about the temple teaching, click the like and subscribe buttons, and you can also support the channel through the Buy Me a Coffee link below, where you'll also find a link to my blog, News from Beyond. And as ever, thank you for watching.